From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Monday, November the 21st, 2016. Rocks were thrown at a bus transporting Israeli soldiers last night in the West Bank. According to the IDF spokesperson, the rocks shattered the bus's windshield and several windows, and 3 soldiers were lightly injured, with 1 needed to be taken to the hospital. And overnight last night, IDF troops uncovered and seized several weapons in an Arab village in the West Bank. 2 terrorists were sentenced to 18 years in prison today for 2 attacks in 2015. Arab-Israeli Subi Abu Khalifa, who seriously wounded a yeshiva student in October of last year, and Palestinian Abed Dawiyat, who threw a stone at the car of Alexander Levlovich, causing his death in September of 2015. Both men reached plea deals with the state attorney's office today. Israel's President Rivlin is wrapping up a 6-day visit to India. Today, Rivlin visited the Chabad house that was one of the sites targeted in the terrorist attacks in Mumbai in 2008. The president unveiled a memorial plaque commemorating the 6 people who were murdered at the site, which included Chabad representatives Gabi and Rivki Goldberg, who ran the house. At the beginning of Rivlin's trip last week, he met with India's president and prime minister and discussed ways to combat terrorism and extremism. The Jerusalem Post reports on a new initiative to combat BDS, the Boycott, Divestment, and Sanctions movement, which seeks to delegitimize the State of Israel. Anti-BDS group of former active-duty IDF soldiers, reservists on duty, has joined forces with the Lone Soldier Center to recruit Americans who have served in the IDF as lone soldiers in a campaign called Project Gideon, which hopes the American veterans can help in the fight against BDS on college campuses across the U.S. Amit Derry, who founded Reservists on Duty, told the Post these are Americans who have friends and family in the U.S. and who care and love America and what it represents, its core values, and what BDS is doing in misleading their friends and unfortunately also harming the Palestinians in the process. A teenage boy was arrested this weekend for several acts of anti-Semitic and racist vandalism in Ottawa, Canada. The teen was indicted on several charges on Saturday, including uttering threats and mischief, which included hateful graffiti painted on several religious buildings, including a local synagogue, a Jewish community center, as well as a mosque and a church. An arch said to be from the Byzantine era was discovered in Jerusalem's Old City during recent construction in the Jewish quarter. The archaeologist who led the excavation, Dr. Oren Gutfeld, said the arch was among relics unearthed that had survived from the First and Second Temple periods. The arch was open for the first time to the public last week, and Israeli Minister of Construction Yoav Gallant toured the site. He said when you go through these places, you touch stones that have survived 2,000 years. You see places where Jews lived, prayed, and bathed. To me, he said, there is nothing more important or more exciting that connects the Jewish people to this place. Yesterday, Sunday, Jews from across the world came together for the Global Day of Jewish Learning, a once-a-year event to celebrate Jewish texts through community-based Torah study and learning, an initiative of the Aleph Society. Over 400 communities in 48 countries took part, including a program in New York City sponsored by Mechon Hadar, Schechter Manhattan, Shaarei Tzedek, and Limud New York at the Solomon Schechter School of Manhattan. JBS was there, and we will bring you coverage of the event soon. And taking a look now at our programming for tonight, from Monday, November the 21st, at 7 o'clock, it's The Wisdom of Dr. Ruth Westheimer. At 7:30, award-winning Israeli filmmaker Danny Menken talks about his 2 films, Is That You? And On the Map, with Judy Gelman-Myers on New Jewish Cinema. At 8, New York Times Jerusalem Bureau Chief Jody Redorin talks about what she has learned covering the Arab-Israeli conflict from Temple Bethel in Stamford, Connecticut. At 9, Mark Golub sits down with Jeffrey Gurek on L'chaim. At 10, author Dov Seidman speaks with New York Times columnist Thomas Friedman in a conversation entitled How to Repair the World at the 92nd Street Y. And coming up right after this newscast tonight, Mark Golub speaks with Sasha Eisenberg of Bloomberg Politics on tonight's In the News at 6:30. And that's the JBS News Update for Monday, November the 21st, 2016. I'm Teisha Bader.